Let me ask you something. If somebody spends years learning how to write lyrics, develops their own ideas, builds their own artistic identity, and makes every meaningful creative decision behind a song, does their work suddenly become worthless because they used AI to help produce the music? Because that's where I think the argument around AI music has gone wrong. It's become louder, more hostile, and in a lot of cases, embarrassingly simplistic. On one side, you've got people insisting that anything involving AI is fraudulent, soulless, and completely meaningless. On the other side, you've got people generating hundreds of disposable songs, uploading every single one of them, and acting as though pressing a button automatically makes them an artist. And honestly, neither side is having the intelligent conversation we actually need. I understand why musicians, producers, singers, and songwriters are concerned. I understand the fear that years of training, technical ability, and artistic experience could be devalued by technology that lets somebody generate a song in a few minutes. I also understand the anger that comes from watching streaming platforms and social media fill up with badly written, poorly developed tracks made by people who've invested almost no thought, skill, or emotional honesty into them. Those concerns are legitimate. They shouldn't be dismissed. But there's another side to this conversation that doesn't receive anywhere near enough attention. Hey, I'm RJ, the songwriter behind HOV Studios and the Damon Vale music project. And before I started releasing music, I was and still am a lyric writer. That distinction matters, because for years, people whose strongest ability was writing lyrics were basically told that writing wasn't enough. You could spend decades learning language, rhythm, rhyme, structure, imagery, storytelling, and emotional honesty. You could learn how a verse builds tension, how a pre-chorus changes the momentum, how a chorus delivers an emotional payoff, how one unusual image can say more than an entire paragraph of generic sentiment. But unless you could also sing, play an instrument, produce professional music, pay session musicians, or somehow get access to established performers, your songs were probably going to remain words on a page. That's always been the frustrating reality for a lot of lyricists. We write songs we can hear clearly in our minds, we understand the emotion, we understand the rhythm, we might even know exactly how the vocal should sound, but we've got no practical way to bring the finished song to life. So we pitch lyrics to singers, we contact producers, we submit to publishers, we enter competitions, we pay for opportunities, we send emails that never get answered, and over again, we're told that the industry doesn't accept unsolicited material. Or worse, we hear absolutely nothing. After enough rejection, a lot of talented lyricists eventually stop trying, not because they've run out of ideas, not because they lack ability, and not necessarily because their work has no value. They stop because the traditional system gives them no realistic path from writing a song to actually letting somebody hear it. And that's where AI music has created something genuinely valuable. For the first time, lyricists can hear their words performed as complete songs without waiting for somebody else's permission. We can explore melody, arrangement, pacing, instrumentation, vocal tone, dynamics, genre, atmosphere. We can test whether a quiet verse should stay restrained or whether it needs to build into something explosive. We can find out whether a line that looks powerful on paper actually works when somebody sings it. We can change the structure, rewrite the chorus, remove weak lines, try a completely different interpretation. And we can do all of that without needing a record label, a professional studio, a session singer, or an industry gatekeeper standing between the lyric and the finished piece of music. That isn't some minor technological convenience. For lyricists, it's a fundamental change in access. It gives people whose main artistic skill is writing a way to finally realize their work. For somebody like me, that's incredibly powerful. It means my lyrics don't have to stay trapped inside notebooks, documents, or folders nobody else is ever going to open. They can become songs, they can be heard, they can affect somebody. And that's why I won't dismiss AI music as automatically worthless. But this is also where the conversation starts getting uncomfortable, because a lot of what's being produced with AI music is undeniably poor. There's an enormous amount of lazily generated material being released. People are generating entire sets of lyrics with AI without meaningfully rewriting any of it. The songs are filled with the same vague emotions, predictable rhymes and recycled imagery. Shadows, echoes, fire, scars, broken hearts, endless storms. Apparently, every AI songwriter lives inside the same haunted weather forecast. The music prompts are vague, generic, and barely considered. Somebody asks for a sad rock song, generates a few versions, chooses whichever one sounds least terrible, and uploads it immediately. There's no development, no quality control, no coherent artistic direction, no real reason for the song to exist beyond the fact that the technology made it possible. That's what people have started calling AI slop. And frankly, the description is often accurate. The problem isn't simply that AI was involved. The problem is that the person using it contributed almost nothing meaningful to the process. There's no distinctive idea, no strong writing, no carefully developed sound, no attention to structure, no emotional specificity, no editing, no restraint, and no evidence that the person making it ever stopped to ask whether the result was actually good. The technology gets treated like a musical vending machine. Type a sentence, press a button, receive a song, upload it, call yourself an artist, then generate another 100 before lunch. That attitude damages everybody who's trying to use these tools seriously. It reinforces the belief that all AI-assisted music is disposable, automated, and creatively empty. It makes it harder for genuine lyricists, songwriters, and independent artists to be taken seriously, even when AI is only one part of a much larger creative process. Once again, thoughtful work gets buried beneath a mountain of low-effort material, and that's the part that frustrates me. I write my own lyrics. The central ideas are mine, the experiences are mine, the perspective is mine, the phrasing, humor, imagery, structure, and emotional meaning all come from me. I don't ask AI to decide what I believe, I don't ask it to invent a personal history for me, and I don't ask it to decide what a song should mean. I start with something I genuinely want to express. Then I develop the music around that intention. I engineer my own music style prompts. I make deliberate decisions about genre, instrumentation, tempo, vocal character, dynamics, atmosphere, and emotional progression. I've developed Damon Vale as a consistent artist identity with a defined voice, sound, visual world, and lyrical perspective. Then I use Suno as a production tool to help turn those human creative decisions into a complete performance. That distinction matters. The technology performs a role I can't perform alone. But it doesn't replace what I bring to the song. It doesn't replace the original idea. It doesn't replace my writing. It doesn't replace my taste. And it doesn't replace the hundreds of decisions involved in choosing what belongs, rejecting what fails, and refining the work until it represents what I intended. One generation isn't automatically the finished song. Sometimes the structure is wrong. Sometimes the voice is wrong. Sometimes the emotion is completely missed. Sometimes a technically impressive result simply doesn't understand the lyric, so I reject it. I rewrite, I change the direction, I generate again, I edit, I compare versions, and I keep working until the performance actually serves the writing. That's a creative process. It might be a new creative process. It might be a process some people dislike, but pretending it involves no authorship, judgment, or labor is simply inaccurate. I'm not ashamed of using AI, and I don't feel guilty for using a tool that's finally allowed me to hear my own writing as music. For years, lyricists were expected to wait for somebody else to choose us. We were expected to pitch our work, accept rejection, and hope that one day a singer, producer, or publisher might decide our words were worthy of becoming a song. AI music has disrupted that dependency. Now I can take responsibility for my own work. I can write the songs I want to write. I can shape how they sound. I can present them to an audience, and I can let those lyrics exist beyond a notebook or a computer document. That freedom matters. But freedom doesn't remove responsibility. Using AI doesn't mean every result deserves to be released. It doesn't mean criticism of AI music is invalid. And it doesn't mean typing a prompt automatically makes somebody a musician, songwriter, or artist. Technology doesn't create artistic integrity. The person using it does. There's a difference between using AI to avoid creativity and using AI to enable creativity that would otherwise remain trapped. There's a difference between asking a machine to do everything and using a machine to help complete a vision that began with a human writer. There's a difference between generating endless content and building a deliberate body of work, and there's a difference between having access to a tool and actually knowing what you want to create with it. That's the distinction getting lost in the current argument. People want a simple label, human or AI, real or fake, artist or fraud, but modern creative work isn't always that simple. A song can involve human writing, human direction, human editing, synthetic instrumentation, and an AI-generated vocal performance. So what exactly should we call it? And more importantly, which part of that process determines whether the work has value? The future of music will almost certainly include AI, whether people welcome it or not. So the useful question is no longer simply, was AI used? The better question is, what did the person bring to the work? Did they bring an original idea? Did they bring skill? Did they bring personal experience? Did they make meaningful creative decisions? Did they shape the result? Did they challenge it? Did they refine it? Did they reject the weak versions? Did they build something recognizably their own? Or did they type one sentence into a generator and upload whatever came out? Those aren't the same creative process, and they shouldn't be treated as though they are. I'm not using AI because I've got nothing to say. I'm using it because I spent years having something to say without having a practical way to make people hear it. Now I do, and I refuse to apologize for finally having a voice. The real debate shouldn't be whether AI touched the music, it should be whether a human being brought anything meaningful to it. So where do you draw the line? When does AI become a legitimate creative tool, and when does it become a substitute for creativity? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you're interested in honest conversations about AI music, songwriting, and what artistic authorship actually means now, subscribe to the channel, because there's a hell of a lot more to discuss. Hold me close and let me fall.